Big time.
Warriors, come out to play.
The story of the 2004-2005 Fort Kent Warriors actually began in the summer of 2003, when Tim Farah was hired to lead a team fresh off a 2-16 record into a new direction.
Well, I got started up here because of Coach Graffam, and he was in constant contact with me about what was going on up here. Also, VPO, Mitch's mom, was in contact with me, emailing me back and forth saying this might happen. And, so that excited me. But the reason that I was excited goes back to when I was a sophomore in college and I was a work study over at the school. I see these guys always in the gym, always working on their game, really loving the game of basketball and looking to improve. And it was a dream to be able to coach that group.
The whole team was pretty excited about the hiring of Coach Fair. We all, we needed a new start basically, and he seemed pretty energetic, and we knew that he was going to bring a whole new aspect to the team, and that he was going to be both, motivated, and which would in turn motivate us.
The 2003-2004 Warriors would improve upon the record, finishing 7-11 and grab the final prelim spot in postseason play, only to be ousted by Maranacook.
The first year's group at the end of the year, 7-11, we got to a prelim. My expectations were met. I really thought that was as good as they get. At the end of the year, I didn't think there were many things you could get better at in that time frame.
Last year, we gave the fans something to cheer about again. Our two biggest wins were against teams that went to the regional finals, and the Herman game we won, and the Hyde game we won. And also the Presque Isle game, too, just coming so close, and we packed that place again, so it gave the fans something to look forward to again next year.
The 2003-2004 squad would lose seniors Randy Willett and Ethan Raymond to graduation. However, the future looked bright for a team who would welcome back 12 seniors returning for one more run. The Warriors would kick off the season hosting the annual Twin Rivers Classic Tournament. After 2 defeats to Katahdin and 1 apiece to Wisdom and Van Buren, the Warriors would capture the crown for the second time in 3 years. Seniors Carson Hartman and Tom Bard were all-tourney team honorees.
That tournament, I believe, was the start of that because we played with so much energy and we played well. Now, last year we played with energy but being consistent. This year we played with energy and we played smart, and we did a lot of good things that allowed us to be in games. And when we're in games, our crowd is so crazy that it's going to give us a chance to make something special happen.
The Warriors would use that momentum heading into the regular season, capturing 2 of their first 3 contests. Versus Caribou, the Warriors would come back from a slow first half to completely outman their opposition with their defense. Offensively, they would keep it simple. Feed the big man.
And after the first half of the Caribou game, really it struggled, but typical with our team that season, our defense carried us through, created some offense, and we pulled out that game.
Traveling to Bucksport, the Warriors would try to do something that eluded them in their 2003-2004 season.
Last year we couldn't get down in the Bangor area. We would never win on Saturdays. And this year we came back and wanted to make a statement that we're actually going to win one game on the weekends and beat those teams from downstate.
Once again, Willett would make his presence felt, scoring at least 20 points for the third game in a row. The next challenge Fort Kent would face would be a much improved Valley rival, Madawaska, a team who would give Fort Kent everything they had. The Warriors would rise to the challenge, however, and open the floodgates to get the game started, jumping out to a quick double-digit lead.
The great thing was we got off to an early start, a big lead. Things were flowing. We're playing offense and then defense, and the crowd was in it. We got really pumped up. That was a big thing in that victory in that game.
However, Fort Kent's new high would be met with quick adversity, as Willette went down and would not return for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we play a lot of guys is because of injuries. They could happen, or you get ineligibility, you get this, you get that, and you go home for injuries. But because Derek Plord has played 15, 20 minutes a game for 2 years, losing Mitch wasn't as big a loss because Derek's able to come right in. Now, do we miss Mitch? Yeah. Do we win these big games without him? No. But in games, a game here, Derek steps up and can really do a lot of good things.
Seniors Tom Bard and Seth Rivera would lead the Warriors in scoring, Bard finishing with 18 points and 5 assists, while Rivera would follow it with 15 points and 6 assists of his own. However, the Madawaska Owls wouldn't let go, keeping it close until the late minutes of the game. But the Warriors squad proved to be too much for their rival, winning the game. With the win, the Warriors would have their longest winning streak in Coach Tim Farrah's tenure. However, the Warriors' newfound success would meet its greatest challenge in their next opponent, county powerhouse Presque Isle.
Last year, even though we lost, we knew that we could play them. And this year, we knew that at home it was the time to play them. And we definitely knew at home that we could take them.
When we're playing Presque Isle, it's definitely one that we circle on the calendar. This is a big game, and that's big time when we play those guys.
As confident as the Warriors were, many wondered how Fort Kent would compete without Willette in the lineup, still nursing his ankle injury from the Madawaska game.
Mitch called me at 2 o'clock that day and said, I'm going to try to play. And I said, do you mean later this week? He said, no, I'm going to try to play tonight. He said, are you crazy? He said, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, Presque Isle, we've never beat them in 10 years. I'm not going to miss this game for the world. I'm going to do what I got to do. Try to beat those cocky fellas.
It had been nearly 10 years since the last victory against the Wildcats, but the feeling around the team was one of hope and high expectations. The Wildcats and the Warriors would battle back and forth for much of the first half, with Presque Isle taking a slim lead into the half.
We were pretty hyped because we kept it close, and it had been first time in a long time that we had been able to play with Presque Isle, and it finally hit us that we can play with these guys, and let's go out and get them.
Halftime of that Presque Isle game home, we were pretty psyched. We played a lot of guys, and we kind of felt like we were wearing them out at the end. We made a run, and the second half was obviously more exciting.
In the third quarter, however, the Wildcats would widen the gap after consecutive three-pointers by Coffin and McGlynn.
Last year we came so close to beating them at home. We had the lead with like 6 minutes left, and it was sort of like the same story all over again. And, we knew this year we couldn't let it slip away. We knew we were a better team, and so we knew we just had to dig in and fight within ourselves to pull out a victory.
We're down by like 10 or so, but we can't let this slip away. We've been playing with them the whole way through, and we can't dig in there and fight back.
Little by little, the Warriors would chip away at the Wildcats, showing their great offense was sparked by their tremendous defense. The game seemed over with just under a minute remaining and a 7-point deficit separating Fort Kent from victory. But after a technical was called on Coffin and a free throw was hit by Willette, followed by a quick three by Rivera, only 3 points kept Fort Kent from ultimate victory.
After I hit that shot, the crowd got into it, our confidence grew, and we were ready to dig in and pull it out.
Momentum now favored Fort Kent, and after Lavaway missed a breakaway layup on the other end, Fort Kent would have one more chance to tie the game.
After Pat hits that shot, I was convinced we were going to win. I usually am, but when you bank a three with a guy in your face to tie a game, stuff like that's going for you. You got to feel good about stuff.
After 4.5 minutes in overtime, the Warriors faced the same challenge, down 3 with one more chance.
So Mitch basically sets a screen and hands off to Pat in the corner. Pat nails a three, gets fouled, and the place goes bonkers. I mean, it was. I get chills just thinking about it right now.
And for some reason, Pat Karen needs to get hit to be an effective shooter because he just gets whacked in the arm and drains that three and sends us into the next overtime. So, amazing.
One more overtime would be needed, but this time, no dramatics would be necessary. Rivera would take over, finishing with a team high of 21 points. Fort Kent would outscore Presque Isle by 7 and give Fort Kent its biggest win in 10 years. The Warriors now stood at 3-1, and the confidence around.
Beating Presque Isle was like beating the New York Yankees. It's like beating that kid on the block that you could ever beat growing. On that night, we were better than them. And, walking around town, there was the next week, it seemed just everyone's chest was out another inch, quarter.
Beating Presque Isle wasn't just for us; it was for the family too. Tom's brother and my brother. Never beat them in anything for 4 years, and this was as much of a win for them as it was for us.
Next, Fort Kent would travel back to the gym where 1 year ago they got a 47-point smackdown. This time, the deficit would only be 1. The Warriors would work the ball around until it landed in the hands of Thomas Bard. With 2 seconds left and the game on the line, Bard let one fly.
We got the ball back, he comes down and he drills one right in front of our bench. And the interesting thing about that is I was right there behind him as he released it. And we were all in line and we go crazy after.
That was our 9th win in a row, and between the past 2 years, we only had 9 wins total. So it felt good to get that one under our belt.
After 11 straight wins, many were beginning to wonder when Fort Kent would come up short. It would come sooner than expected, in a battle against a familiar foe.
Playing Orno up here, that's a squad that has always given us a hard time. You could throw the records out when we play them.
In a spot at the bottom of the standings, Orno was playing with nothing to lose, and gained confidence as the game continued on. The Warriors would not have to deal with a determined Orono team, and would be in a dogfight for the rest of the game. The two teams would match each other for the whole second half. The score would be tied entering the last minute of the game, until Orono got a good bounce and a basket that put them up 2 with 12 seconds remaining. But the Warriors would have one more chance. But after a missed 3 and a failed putback by Willette, Fort Kent would be on the losing side of things for the first time in nearly 2 months.
Losing is obviously something that no one really likes to do. So, it was really hard for us because usually late in the game we pull it out, and we didn't get, I don't know what happened, but we didn't pull it out that game.
The Warriors would have to regroup quickly if they wanted to avoid another speed bump. The Warriors would hit the road to battle their most fierce rival, Madawaska.
If they beat us, that pretty much set their place in the tournament. So they came out really fired up, and we didn't come up the same intensity, and it cost us in that first half, and it cost us the game, I think.
The Madawaska game was up there was definitely going to be a battle because their senior night, for Miles especially, and those guys, we knew it was going to be a war.
In front of a packed house on senior night, Fort Kent would grab the first points of the night, but few highlights would follow in the first half. Madawaska would jump out of the gate, getting whatever they wanted and establishing a 15-point first half lead.
Our weak side defense was suspect, and offensively we were impatient.
Coming into the locker room after the first half, the mood was low. I admit it. I flipped out a little bit. Told them what we have to do, but came on the second half of the fire under our ass. We got back into it.
But the Warriors would get back to playing Warrior basketball in the second half, creating havoc on defense and feeding Big Daddy Willette on offense.
Big Mitch got us going, and after that, things kind of seemed to fall into place, and that was a good thing.
We started matching their intensity, started playing defense, getting the ball into Mitchell, the sharpshooters on the outside, and we just had to match their intensity if we wanted to stay in the game.
Madawaska crowd chanting defense. They're clear for 2.
Fort Kent would continue to close the gap, putting the pressure on Madawaska, and after a barrage of 3-pointers, Fort Kent found themselves down 1 with a shot at victory. However, Madawaska would make the plays in the end and pull out the win, lowering Fort Kent's morale and heightening their frustration.
After the Madawaska game, we were definitely pissed off. Our second loss in a row. It never feels good to lose, but especially to a close rival like Madawaska.
I think that after, a tough loss like the one at Madawaska, I think it turned our season around. I think that people started to understand that there are no breaks when teams played us. We were going to have to bring everything because everybody wanted to beat us. We were so good.
After that loss, it was either we were going to collapse and just completely fall apart, or pull together and make one more run and finish out the season like we wanted it to. So it was a turning point in the season.
Well, I said some things, but I wasn't just me pulling the team together. We had a good group, and the group was going to pull themselves together as long as coaches didn't lose our minds and everybody kind of got the message we were going to stay together.
It wasn't going to get any easier as the Warriors would travel to Holton, the team that gave Fort Kent its first loss of the season. Not only that, it had also been nearly 10 years since a Fort Kent squad left Holton with a victory.
Coming in to play Holton, we knew that it was a tough place to play. It had a great crowd, great band. It's just really loud the whole time. We knew that we had to come in focused and ready to play.
And a good start is exactly what the Warriors got. By limiting Holton to 1 shot offensively and being productive in transition, Fort Kent was able to gather a lead heading into the half.
Halftime of the whole game, it was a really good feeling because we had run the floor real well. We're getting the boards so we could get in transition, score some baskets, and the second night where our team was playing us, and it was the game of their lives. So it was a good start.
D-Rock Ford came in the game, was working offense and defense. Took about 3 charges on defense and kept getting those no-look passes and getting rebounds, everything we needed. Derek had it for us.
But Fort Kent wouldn't celebrate for long, because while they found satisfaction in their success, Holton was planning a counterattack. After a quick timeout, the Warriors would get back to what gave them success all year, pounded inside. Only this time, Holton would have to deal with a 2-headed monster.
They had no matchup for Mitch or Derek, and Derek was perfect. He was 6 for 6 from the field, had 8 rebounds and I believe 5 assists, and was on the WAGM Player of the Week, and just had a great game. And Mitch had I think 27 in the game.
The 2 big men would help push the lead back to double figures for Fort Kent, and the rest of the team would follow. However, once again, as soon as Fort Kent would find success, Holton would come roaring back, this time taking a 2-point lead with 11 seconds remaining. But Fort Kent would show patience and maturity, feeding the ball to Ouellette, who would hit his biggest and toughest shot of the night.
And that was a tough shot by Mitch, but we have a lot of confidence in him, and at the end of the game, that's the man we want the ball in his hands.
Fort Kent would enter its second overtime game of the year, against a rejuvenated Holton squad and crowd. But after Rivera hit a 3 from the baseline, the pressure was back on the Shires. Holton would cut it down to 1 after a tough layup by Brett Miles, and after a steal by Jordan Hill, Holton had a chance to take back the lead. But Fort Kent would get a lucky break and get control of the ball, up 1 with under 20 seconds left in the game. Holton would have to foul. After 2 made free throws, Fort Kent would extend its lead to 3. But Holton would still have 1 more chance to tie it up. But after a missed 3-point attempt, Fort Kent would travel home with a victory.
That game was a big win for us. We grinded out in overtime, and it was a big battle for us. We had just lost 2 in a row.
The win at Holton we ended up with was huge because it kind of turned on some of those tough feelings we had from the losses we had taken. And the big thing is you beat Holton down there, defending Class C champions, even if they weren't quite that level again. That's accomplishment. That's something that's very difficult to do.
The Warriors would start their second winning streak of the year, picking up a win over a stubborn Bucksport squad that gave Fort Kent all it could handle. Fort Kent would get 20 points out of Bard and 13 points, 8 rebounds by Ouellette. 2 nights later would be a night solely dedicated to the 11 graduating seniors.
But I do think this group, having them for 2 years consecutively, did, and just something about the group itself, we clicked real well right from the get-go. So that's, senior night was awesome because of that. It's something that I didn't want to come. I wanted to enjoy every moment. And when it did, it was nice to see all the families with all the.
Well, playing in our own gym is always nice, and it was kind of weird thinking that was going to be the last time we were going to play in that gym because it had been such an incredible season. Gotten a lot of support from the community, and it was nice to have everyone out there supporting us playing.
Steve, 11 seniors playing their last game on the front court. Felt just like yesterday. We're still in 8th grade, getting ready to play Fort Kent high school ball now. That's our last game, so probably the senior game was the best game of the year.
The senior game was the last game at home, and it felt good to get out, get all the fan support, and we ended up coming out of that one with a win.
Even though it was our last home game, we had to focus because we had bigger games to come. Bangor Auditorium was a major point that was coming ahead, and we just had to stay focused to reach our goal.
After the Van Buren game, senior night, which was a good win, we had to focus on bigger and better things because, one of the things we said we were going to play meaningful games in February. Well, we had much more meaningful games to play, even though that was a big one.
Fort Kent would finish off their regular season with one more battle against Presque Isle.
We knew we were going to play them in the first round. We knew we had already clinched second in the conference, and that we were going to play in the Big East game. So as far as just those outside things, we weren't too worried about. What we want to do is play well.
But the Warriors would come out flat, getting beat on both ends of the floor.
Well, we got embarrassed pretty bad in that last game at Presque Isle, and it wasn't too fun sitting on the bench getting beat by 20 points, and you hear the overrated chants and the you suck chants. So, I mean, hopefully it was a wake-up call and will get us ready for the challenges that lay ahead.
I don't think that we played as poorly as they played, as well as they played great. I think they played very well, and they had the other. So I look at them as playing a great game and us not playing real well.
But before the Warriors could prepare for their opening round opponent, they would take a trip to the Mecca to take part in the championship for the Big East Conference.
The Big East Championship game selection process basically goes like this. It comes down to winning percent. Our situation was we had only played 10 games in the conference, whereas everybody else gets 16 or 14. Just because of our location, being so far away from some of the other teams, we had an 8-2 record, which gave us a 800 winning percentage. Foxcroft was undefeated, and then Presque Isle was 12-4, so their winning percentage was 750 below ours. So we got to go to the Bangor Auditorium and play the Foxcroft Ponies, and what ended up being a pretty competitive game.
During the season, we didn't even know what the Big East Championship was, but as soon as we got in, it was a great opportunity for us to get better and to get a chance to play the Bangor Auditorium against a solid team.
Fort Kent would face a Foxcroft team led by all-conference performers Bobby Gilbert, Kyle Rideout, and Player of the Year Matt Carey. However, it was the jitters of playing in the auditorium that got the best of the Fort Kent squad.
Up to that, and getting there this year was something that we expected and we worked towards, and we thought it was there. We never talked about it all the time, that everybody knew when we got together, we went to a game, that it was getting us ready for that, and then that's what our goal was.
Everyone's got that dream growing up of playing in the auditorium. Everyone that grows up in the state of Maine that plays high school basketball, you watch the games on TV and all that stuff. And I was no different. I had dreams of playing on the auditorium floor as well. So I was really excited just getting the opportunity just to step on the floor and touch that backboard and all that stuff. So
Foxcroft would run all over the Warriors when the game began, jumping out to an early 17-point lead. It seemed the Warriors had no answer for the Ponies from Foxcroft.
Starting the Big East game, I think we were kind of nervous a little bit. We came out a little bit flat. We dug ourselves a hole.
But just as quickly as Foxcroft got going, Fort Kent got a run going just as fast. After back-to-back threes by Hartman and Bard, the rest of the Warrior squad would get going as well, turning it up on the defensive end, sparking their offense.
We dug ourselves a deep hole in the first quarter. We got down by 16, and defense was back into it at halftime, only down by 5. Major point of the game.
In the first quarter, we came out kind of flat. It's Foxcroft. We're kind of a little bit intimidated. Second quarter, we came out, settled down a little bit, got into our groove. And we figured out that they're normal. Play with them.
The two teams would exchange runs in the second half, each taking their turn at grabbing the lead. Foxcroft would prove to be too much in the end, taking a 10-point victory as well as the Big East Championship. The Warriors would finish 14-4, second in the Big East, which was good enough to finish 5th overall in Eastern Maine Class B and grab the final bye spot in the first round.
Starting in sophomore year, we got last. In junior year, we got the last bye, the last preliminary spot, and then this year we got the last bye spot. So each year we got better and better, and now we got to the step where we could play in the auditorium.
From day one, our goal was to get to Bangor, and every win, every loss, every step that we took along the way was a progression towards that goal. We weren't going to settle for anything less than what we wanted to do.
Learning that we got to play Presque Isle in the playoffs kind of shocked. But we got to play 2 county teams, but we knew what to expect. We knew what we were going to get coming into it, and we wanted a chance at them after we got embarrassed after Presque Isle.
When we found out we had to play Presque Isle in the tournament, I was it's pretty hyped because they're our biggest rivals in the whole county, and we knew we had to step it up because if we lost, we had to go home. So we knew we had to bring it.
Once we got out there for the opening tip, I mean, there was no other feeling like that in the world, and it was kind of jittery, but also excitement. And Prescott got out to a quick 6-0 lead, and we would just have to regroup. So we called a quick timeout, and we came out, and I knocked down 2 threes back to back, and got us going. We picked it up defensively after that, and offensively, we gained confidence. So after I hit those threes, and we just kind of went back and forth for the rest of the half. And Mitch was a monster, and then on the other end, Coffin had a good first half, and he got things going. But Mitch was just playing fantastic. I mean, that's why he got Bangor Daily, honorable mention, because this is the game where he stepped up. But us, we just kept battling back, and we just started playing our game a little bit. And we played defense. We took charges. We frustrated them a little bit, and we took a little bit of a lead. And we just kept playing, and we're setting up guys, getting passes to Mitch, and the rest of it just kind of followed. And Derek came and played big out the bench. We just wanted to stick together and try to pull it out. And then Carson hit back-to-back threes, and his second one was a little bit crazy, that big bounce it took. But I mean, that's just the half we were having. We were just, everything was flowing, but unfortunately, we couldn't pull it out, and our season ended, and a lot of our careers ended.
It was sad. It's part of, I look at the whole picture, and I see this as a journey the whole season, and the journey was done, and it's sad, but it's also that it was time. I remember feeling just emotionally drained anyways. I didn't know how to act, and I thought we got beat by a better team. I thought they were a better team, and I didn't feel ashamed or anything. I thought our guys played great. I thought it was a well-played game. Have I thought of 100 different ways, things we could have done differently? But I'm proud of our first time being there and the first time in the program in 10 years. So.
Also, Prescott didn't we go back to the locker room. Everyone was trying to take jerseys off, and Coach giving his last speech. It kind of hit home right then that it's the last time we might all be together in the same room, wearing the same color jersey. We're all going off to different places, and it hit a bunch of us real hard.
Even though the season ended as it did, we still finished going to Bangor, and that puts us in a very special category.
This year I get to fulfill a lifelong dream, playing at Bangor Auditorium. It's something I've been dreaming about since elementary school, and we had the group of guys to do it this year, get the job done. Had the second best record in school. It's just an awesome year. I'll never forget it.
We really did a lot this year, and just for me to be on the team was a special thing. We worked real hard, and we got back to Bangor. Getting the whole town of Fort Kent here in the stands, and the place being packed against for teams like Prescott just means a lot to us, and we'll never forget it.
This year we accomplished a lot of things, and it's going to be remembered over the years. 11 teams coming through and accomplishing a lot of things that haven't been done in a long time. And next year, the 3 other people on our team are going to have a lot of shoes to fill. They're going to develop a new team, and probably in the years to come, again, they'll have a very good team. But 11 seniors that we had are going to be remembered for a long time.